G'day everyone and welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today I'm going to be going through my tips and predictions for this round, being round 10, and I'll also be going through last round's tips and telling you guys which ones I got correct and which ones I got incorrect. Now if you guys do go on to enjoy today's video, could you please show me that by liking the video as well as subscribing to the channel if you guys are new. Enough wasting your time, let's get into it. Now before we do get into the tipping, I would just like to quickly acknowledge the fact that I do have a tipping comp for the 2025 AFL season. We're currently on 89 members and I know we can get to 90 by the end of the week. We're almost there. Now if you guys do finish first place in my tipping comp, you guys will receive a cash prize of $100. Second place is $30 and third place will be $15. Currently in third place is Prenilk17. Sorry, don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. Second is Dead Fishpool, still finding himself in the top 3 again this week. And we currently have a new leader in the tipping comp, being Ben Rafferty with 64 points. But myself, I'm not going too bad in that tipping competition as I am in 26th place. And last week I did score a 7 out of 9, which isn't horrible. It could always be worse. The first game I got incorrect was St Kilda v Blues. Yes, I understand it was at the MCG and a lot of people were telling me that I should have just tipped the Blues and it was really a no-brainer for them. But let's face it, I feel like the Saints are the overall better side than the Blues, and it was just kind of, despite the Blues going to the game favourites, St Kilda are the better team overall. They're definitely beaten a lot more stronger teams, but I guess maybe it's just they can't get the win at the MCG. The other game with Essendon v Swans, I don't know how the Bombers managed to pull off an upset. Very close game. I was actually there, so I got to enjoy a good game of football. I'm not going to get too into it, but all I'm going to say is free kick Essendon. And the third game I got incorrect, arguably game of the round, Geelong v Giants. What a game that ended up being. It's very rare that you actually do see the Geelong defeat the Giants. I think the Giants have got a bit of a winning streak, but because it was being played at GMHBA, I had to back the Cats, and I feel like they were going to be slightly a bit more on the rise, and I still think the Cats have what it takes to make the top 4. They're just going to get back into the thick of things. Anyway, let's move on to the tips that we have for this week. We're going to start off on the Thursday. That'll be a game between the Hawthorn Hawks and the Gold Coast Suns. It'll be at 7:30 p.m. and it's going to be at TIO Stadium. That's right, back-to-back TIO games for the Suns. They'll be really, really happy about that. Last week, we saw the Suns barely hold on against the Western Bulldogs. I think it was a 3-point thriller in the end. The Hawks do currently sit at 3rd on the ladder now, and the Suns aren't too far behind them, with them sitting in 4th place with just 1 win less than the Hawks. But we do have to keep in mind that the Suns had played 1 less game than them as well, as they were supposed to play back in opening round, but obviously the game was called off due to the cyclone. I still do think the Suns can get up this week, especially if Ben King has an absolute blinder. Even Took Miller, he's been really good this season. Raul Anderson, the usuals. Even Noble, he's been outstanding for this year. I feel like I mention him every week, but you just can't not mention him. And I'm going to tip the Suns to win by 8. Now moving on to the Friday, we have the Carlton Blues travelling up to the SCG to face off against the Sydney Swans. This game will be at 7:40 p.m. With this game being at the SCG, I definitely do see a world where the Swans get up. And let's be real, I feel like a few of Carlton's wins were a bit cheap. They faced off against the Eels and North Melbourne, but then they did pull off some unexpected wins, obviously against the Geelong Cats and I believe St Kilda as well. As for the Swans though, I feel like they've been a lot more respected in their wins. They've defeated Freo, they bet North by over 60, and also the Giants as well. And to be fair, 4 of their losses have been by under 10 points. So as long as they can keep Curnow at maybe 2 goals or under, have a strong tag on Patrick Cripps, and Grundy can dominate over Tom DeConing, I think they'll go just fine this week. In fact, I'm willing to tip the Swans by 20 points. Starting off for Saturday, we have the Collingwood Magpies taking on the Adelaide Crows. It'll be at 1:20 p.m. at the G. Don't get me wrong, I'm loving the way we're playing at the moment, but I feel like we're playing too good. We're playing too good. There's just going to be that one moment in the season where it's going to have a rough patch. Listen to me being unconfident in my side. To be fair, we are second on the ladder, trailing only 2 points behind the Brisbane Lions. It's really hard to feel ashamed. But I just have that feeling that we are going to struggle this week. It's always a close game against the Crows. I mean, the last 4 times we've faced off against them, the margin is decided by under a goal. The Pies will have Pendlebury, Maynard and DeGoey all back in their side this week. I think Mycheck's still going to be out for a few more weeks due to that injury that he did cop. But Schultz will be out for minimum 2 weeks, and I would assume longer than that actually. Apparently Nick Dacos, Jamie Elliott and Darcy Moore all got injured in that game against Fremantle, but they all seem to be very minor injuries, and I'd be shocked if none of them played this week. But I generally think that this is the week that we see a Charlie West debut. I mean, he kicked 4 goals in the VFL last week, and that was even with a slight foot injury. I actually reckon he would have played last week if it wasn't for that foot injury, so if we can see him play this week, that would be really good. I believe he's a South Australian boy, so I'm sure he maybe went for the Crows, or even even if he went for Port, he'll be really, really happy to face off against the Crows. Maybe he went for a random team like the Tigers. It doesn't matter what team he went for. I think he's playing this week. I think the Pies will win the game. It'll probably be a close one. We'll go Pies by 4. Next, we have Port Adelaide versus Geelong. So we have 4:15 p.m. at the Adelaide Oval. The Cats don't really have too easy of a fixture the next few weeks, to be fair. They've obviously got Port this week. They got the Bulldogs the week after. Then they do get a bit of a break against the Eagles. And then they get sent straight to a Cats v Suns clash. So they really need to make the most out of this game. I understand that the Power do have Butters, Rosie, Power Pepper, who started off the year outstandingly, Ollie Wines as well, and I'm definitely missing a few other key names in that mix. When you look at the Cats side, you'd be shocked that they're not in the top 4 at the moment. Jezza has had an outstanding season. No, Jezza has had an outstanding career, just in general. Dangerfield, he's been a gun and really scary up forward this year. Bailey Smith is going to go down as recruit of the year, and I think he's easily top 5, maybe top 3. Maybe he'll go on to win the Brownlow this year, but he's definitely going to be in the mix for this year's medal. Max Holmes may be playing better than he was in 2024, and Humphreys, you wouldn't believe he's only played 19 games. So if you can't tell already, I am going to tip the Cats in this game. I know it's away, but I'm going to back them to win it. Cats win by 28 points. The other 4:15 game, we have the GWS Giants taking on the Fremantle Dockers at NG Stadium. This is lining up to be a very solid round of football, maybe even better than what we saw last week. GWS are slowly dropping on the ladder, so they're going to be wanting to win this game to prove that they're not pretenders. As for Freo, they were hyped up all off season, and really from what we've seen this year, there hasn't really been any positive signs and no really signs pointing to the fact that they're going to play finals in 2025. Jesse Hogan kicked 7 goals last week. He has to win the Coleman medal, surely. I don't care how good Ben King is. Come on, Hogan's got to get back-to-back. There's no way he doesn't, especially if he has a few more games like that. Tom Green and Whitfield are absolute guns. Not to overlook Brayshaw and Sarong. The real big 3. Stringer has started to show some positive signs lately, especially last week he did really well. But I do have a feeling that Tracy for Freo will be kicking a few more goals this week, maybe 3 at most. I just don't think the GWS backline is going to be strong enough to stop him, but I'm still going to back the Giants to win by 14 points. And for the final game of the Saturday, we have the Western Bulldogs taking on the Essendon Bombers at 7:35 p.m. at Marvel Stadium. I feel like this game isn't really too hard to tip. I feel like this is a no-brainer. Even though Essendon are 9th on the ladder and the Bulldogs, I believe, are 6th, there's not too much of a gap there, but compare the Western Bulldogs in the first maybe 4 rounds of the season and then compare them to what they are now. They are absolute legends and they could genuinely make the top 4 this year at this point in time. If they keep up this form, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't be back in that premiership contention, to be fair. The Bond has had a great return to the game and he has made a massive impact on this Western Bulldogs side. Liberatore has also stepped up heavily this year. Bukakamas has been getting moved around the ground constantly this year. He started off the year backline as he did in his whole career. Then he's been chucked up forward last week, kicked 2 goals, so they put him up there again. Who knows, maybe he'll no longer find himself in that backline again. I think I will tip the Bulldogs to win this game comfortably by 34 points. Next up, we have Richmond v North. This will be at the MCG at 1:10 p.m. Alright, sorry about that. This could actually be a close game. Tigers obviously did get that 2-point win last week against the Eagles. And as for North Melbourne, they faced off against the reigning premiers last week and they played well enough to tie with them. North's only win of the year though was by 59 points against Melbourne. So when reading over that, you would think that maybe the Tigers do get up this week with the more wins, obviously. Even though North are favourites going into this one. But I will tip the Tigers to win the game by 13 points. Next up, we've got Brisbane taking on Melbourne. This will be at 3:20 p.m. at the Gabba. It's the reigning premiers taking on a potential bottom 4th side. If that doesn't say it all, I don't know what will. I'll go straight to the point. Brisbane to win it by 48. And to finish up the round, we have the Eagles taking on the St Kilda Saints at Optus Stadium at 4:40 p.m. The Eagles did have their chance to win their first game of the season last week and absolutely blew it in the final minutes. They had a chance to kick that final goal with, I believe, under 30 seconds to go. I doubt West Coast will win a game this season. They've probably got arguably 2 more opportunities this year, which is against Richmond later in the year in Perth, and maybe they'll find an upset against North in Bunbury. But both of those games, I just don't see a world where West Coast win. I still think if the Saints can get themselves together in the second half of the year, I think there's still a chance of playing finals in 2025. McRae is one of the best players to be wearing the St Kilda jumper at the moment. How good has Phillippo been playing this year, as well as Sharman and Higgins? And let's face it, McGovern, Jamie Cripps, Waterman, and even Liam Baker, they are the glue that is holding West Coast together. Without them, they would have 0 chance at going into this game. I think you'd even see West Coast supporters even turning on their own team without their 4 players. But I believe the Saints will send the Eagles into 0-10 and they'll win the game by 48 points. And that will wrap up today's video. I hope you all did enjoy. And if you did, could you please show me that by liking the video as well as subscribing to the channel if you guys are new. Because if we can hit 8,000 subscribers by the end of May, I'll be running 8 laps around the MCG on a live stream and you're not going to want to miss it. Anyway, I hope to see you all in the next video that I post here on the channel.